So, in your homework yesterday, so we're continuing the 2-1, right? In your homework yesterday, the last 4 problems I said I wasn't going to do an example of. I wanted you to see if you could remember how to do it. They asked you to estimate, correct?
Yeah.
And they asked you to estimate, and then you were supposed to find them algebraically. You find the zeros. Zeros, x-intercepts, and solutions means you set it equal to 0. In a quadratic, this is a quadratic, yes? That should be a highlighter, not a pen, sorry. But in a quadratic, I'll just underline, you must solve by factoring every time. If you cannot factor, then you have to use the quadratic formula. I expect you to know it. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, this b can be written like that. It can be written like this. It means exactly the same thing. Left or right. Okay, because it's multiplication. Yes, you need that written down.
I don't know how to do square root without.
Well, you simplify it. Unless it's a perfect square, you simplify it. We're not going to approximate the square root of 5. Okay? I hope you would all know that the square root of 5 is just a little bit bigger than 2. How would I know that?
Because 2 times 2
Because
is
5
4.
is just 1 more than 4.
5 is 1 more than 4, and the square root of 4 is 2, right? So it's just a little bit bigger than 2.
Yep.
So we will not approximate square roots in here very often. Once in a while, you may have a graph that you just kind of got to judge it. But all it has to be is like in between. But other than that, you will just simplify square roots. So like if you had the square root of 72. Okay? Square root of 72. There's a perfect square in there, 9. 8 perfect square, right? 9 and 8. Okay? Is there a perfect square in 8?
Yeah. No.
4 and 2. What's the square root of 3? Oh,
Three.
square root of 9.
3 and 3.
3. What's the square root of 4?
2.
2. So 2 times 3, and then so you have 6 square root of 2. That is what we will do in here.
I don't know.
We will not, you have done it, we need to brush it off. Okay? That's what we will do in here. We will not use a calculator decimal, we will use actual square roots. Okay? So, I'm going to make this screen bigger, I think.
What is the B stand for?
B, right back here,
Can you move for 2
right there.
Okay.
A, B, and C, the coefficients.
I should probably. Why is the one you have on the right different from?
It's not different. This is multiplication here. It can be written out in front, or it can be written just in the numerator. It doesn't matter. You'll see it written both ways. They're exactly the same. So that's what you needed for those. So now we are going to do a process called completing the square. I do not know if you have been introduced to this or not, so you have a lot of practice at it, and every problem we do today, except the very last example, will be completing the square. Okay? So in this process, there's some things that have to happen. You have to have 1 as your leading coefficient. Do I have 1 as my leading coefficient?
No, 2 comes first.
I have 2, so I need to deal with that. So what you do is you look at just these 2 terms right here. Okay, this term is, that 7 is just kicked out. We're not going to do anything with it right now. So I need 1 as my leading coefficient, so I have 2x squared plus 8x. How can I get rid of that 2? How can I get it out of there? What process?
5 by 2.
Which is called what? Factoring. Thank you. I factor out a 2, and I have x squared plus 8x, and I'm leaving a gap.
Wouldn't it be 4x?
Oh, yes, it would be 4x. Yes, I was worried about the gap. Thank you guys for catching up.
Where'd you get the 4? She meant 7, but she was talking about 4.
Yes. You just got to make sure I write what I'm saying and say what I'm writing. Keeps you on your toes. I have to be like 4 steps ahead of you guys, so. Okay. So, I kicked it out. I'm obviously going to put something right here, yes?
Yeah.
Now, I can do whatever I want to an equation as long as it balances out, yes? So if I add something in there, I have to do what out here?
Subtract.
Add something
Subtract.
out that-
I can't add it both. I have to
Oh.
add and subtract. Because if I add and subtract the same exact thing, I'm really doing what? It's 0, right? If I add 8 and subtract 8, it's what? 0. So it's just like I can multiply both numerator and denominator by exactly the same thing, or multiply both sides by exactly the same thing. I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary. So what goes here? So this is A, B, right? You take B divided by 2 squared. That goes right here. Now, if B is positive, it's negative, it's still going to come out to be positive. Why? Because I'm squaring it. Okay? So, what is B? 4. 4 divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is what? 2 squared is 4. Now, I said I have to do the same thing on both, yes?
Yeah.
But be careful, what's out in front of here? The 2. So this really isn't 4, this is what? 8. Because I had to take the 2 times the 4. The 2 came from here, and the 4 came from here. If there's a 1 out front, I'm still multiplying it times 1. But it's not changing it.
How did you get 4 over 2?
Because the rule is B divided by 2 squared. B is 4.
Oh, okay. I
Okay.
was wondering where you got the 2.
The 2 is in the formula.
Yeah.
Okay, now, I'm going to show you something, guys. Do you see this B over 2? Look back over here. Do you see a B over 2?
And that.
In the quadratic formula. Okay? That B over 2 also shows you the vertex of a parabola when we do that at the end of today. Or the maximum or minimum, because that would give you a max or min. So that B over 2 happens a lot of places. So the formula is just B over 2 squared.
And we're gonna need to memorize that for the test.
You're going to do it today. You will learn it.
Are
We
we
don't
gonna do
memorize
another
it
one
here.
of those examples
Yes.
from-
So
We've
did
got-
you get the 4 from the?
The 4 is right there.
So no matter okay, so let's say that's 8x. Would 8 be over 2?
Yes. It's B over 2. And this is AX squared plus BX plus, and you have to find out your C. Okay, so you guys aren't letting me finish, so you're never going to get a. No, let me finish. You guys have to see an example from start to finish because it's not going to connect. Okay, so this is called completing the square, yes? And vertex form looks like A minus A, yeah, whatever. Yes? Okay, so I need a perfect square trinomial, don't I? What we just did is make a perfect square trinomial.
Okay.
So, we're going to factor this. So I have 2. And I have the factors of 4 that add to 4 are what? 2 and 2, and they're both positive. And 7 minus 8, negative 1. So since these are the same right here, I don't write them like that, do I?
No.
I write it as
2
2 x plus 2 squared minus 1. Did I just write that in vertex form? Yes.
Whoa.
Okay, what's my vertex?
Vertex is -2,
Negative 2, negative 1. And what does this 2 tell me?
Slow.
That
It's wider or narrower?
-2. Wider.
Narrower.
Narrower. I'm increasing more than I'm increasing up more than I'm going wide. So it's narrower.
Wait, where did you get the negative?
Yeah, where's the negative?
The opposite
It's
of
the
the
Opposite right here.
Because H is
Oh,
always
The
yeah.
negative.
same thing as it's been for the last 3 weeks. Yes.
Okay, so what would you do if?
Don't what ifs, because we got more examples. What ifs causes problems. We need to deal with this problem, okay? I got like 4 more. So if I don't answer it by the end of the 4, you can ask me the what if. Deal? Okay. Yes.
Where did the -2 come from when we added it or subtracted it from the 7?
Well, we've added here, so we have to subtract here every time.
Where the 2 come from?
Right here.
You're talking about the one inside. the
No,
parentheses?
she's talking about this one right here. Because you have, this is not just 4. This is 2 times 4 because 2's out in front of that quantity. Okay, so let's do another one.
Wait, can I finish writing?
I hope you don't have too much of that stuff written on there.
You want me to write that?
Do not write every single thing unless you know what every single thing means. That's what I'm saying. Don't write all this extra stuff like circles.
Oh, I'm not.
Okay.
I was just trying to like watch, you know.
No, that's fine.
How do you know that it's narrower?
Because this is, if
You're
absolute value of A is greater than 1, it's going to be narrower than the parent function. Again, just like it's been for 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
What is the one thing I can't remember?
Just remember, guys, this is like rate of change. It's kind of like slope, okay? That means I'm going up to y for every 1x I go over. Isn't it go up first? So it's going to be narrower. If it was 1/2, it would go up 1y for every 2x's, so it's going to be what? Y. Okay, so we're going to complete the square again. And it's, again, we're making a perfect square trinomial. That's why it's called completing the square. So we need to do what?
Well, you already have one.
We need to do what with this?
Put it on a.
Put it outside.
We need to kick it out. And then we need to factor out if the leading coefficient isn't 1, but the leading coefficient is 1, yes? So I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 there so you know we still have to look at it. Leave a gap. Why am I leaving a gap?
Because you're gonna put.
I'm going to put something there, right? And it's always going to be positive because I square it. Yes? Okay, so this
on
is
the outside.
minus 8, and then it's going to be minus, and these two things are going to be the same. Okay?
And then it's
So this,
these, you gotta factor
2
it.
not yet,
2 over 2.
2 over 2 squared,
1.
1. So, and then I take 1 times 1, and I'm going to show you that because it doesn't change,
Wait, why do you take 1 times 1?
because you have this 1 times this 1 goes here. Now,
Oh,
it's still 1.
So you don't just do the opposite? Like,
No.
since it was a positive 1, you don't just put a negative 1?
No, because on the back,
Well, I
the
did.
last example, there was a 2 there. So I had to multiply by 2. So I'm showing you that it has to be done every time. Okay, so now outside, I have negative what? Negative 9,
Yeah.
okay? And on the inside, I'm not going to do all the factoring again because this is going to happen every single time, and I promise you. You see this right here? Okay, this right here, whatever this is, not being squared, is what's going to go right here.
So 2?
Okay? No, what's 2 over 2?
Oh,
1. So it'd be x plus 1 squared.
Anytime,
every-
whatever that is without being
If it
squared
was
is gonna be the
17
answer.
over 2 squared, you'd have to do 17 squared over here, but in the factor, it would always be 17 over 2. That is why I write that every single time. Because if I do this right, then I don't have to factor it. Because I can factor this, yes? Factors of 1 that add to 2. What are they?
1.
1 and 1. So now, this is a parabola, yes? That I can graph. Where's my vertex?
Negative 1 and
And
negative 9.
Yeah, there has to be 1 there. Negative 1, negative 9, it opens up, yes? And wider or narrower,
The same.
the same,
How do you know it opens up?
because it's positive.
Or that it's the same?
'Cause
It's
not
positive
saying
1
equal to
right
'cause
here.
It's equal to 1, it's not more or less than
The A is 1, so
So-
it's the same.
So negative 1, negative 9 is your vertex.
That's my vertex. That's also my axis of symmetry is that x equals negative 1, right? Okay, so negative 1, negative 9, so we're like down here, right?
Yeah. Beautiful.
So negative 1, negative 9, I'm down here, I go up. This is negative,
That's just symmetry.
negative 1 is my axis of symmetry. This tells me all sorts of things that I can do where I don't want to make a table to graph that. Because the graphs you had yesterday on your last 4, you could factor those, right? All 4 of them factored. Do the factors of 8 have a difference of 2? Do they? They could. Yeah, they do. What are they?
4 and 2.
4 and 2. So I have x plus 4 and x minus 2. Okay, so then I could get my zeros, yes? So they would be at x is -4 and 2. So I could get a better, this would be -4, right? And this would be 2. Obviously proportional. Okay, so can I get a lot of things from here? Yeah. And being able to do this is much easier to graph when vertex form, isn't it? Okay, so let's do another one. X squared minus 10x plus 25.
Take out 25.
Kick out 25. Do I have any leading coefficient I need to kick out?
Nope.
No.
So it's
Because
just
it
one.
always has to be 1, guys, and +1. So if there's a negative, I still have to kick out a what? A negative. So I have 1 times x squared minus 10x plus, why is it always going to be plus?
Because you're squaring it.
Because you're squaring it, and it's always going to be minus out here because I have to have 0, right? I have to have a balance. Riley, have I answered your what ifs yet?
You're getting there.
Okay.
Never mind.
So that's why I said wait on your what ifs, because sometimes you're asking me things before I want you to see them. Okay, so now I'm all ready to do what?
Negative 10
10 over 10 over 2.
Negative 10 over 2 squared. Now, I don't put the negative because I'm going to square it. If you want to put the negative, you do that. I don't care. Okay? I know there's some math teachers that will say, put that negative in there. I don't care.
Well, wouldn't it help later to remember that?
Well,
it's
as
actually a
long as you
negative?
remember that there's going to be a negative in between. So I guess if you want to do that, it would help you remember that.
Well, I was gonna say just for later on, it'd be easier to just remember
Maybe.
that it's a negative.
I just do. So if it helps you, put the negative there, but I'm not going to force you. Okay, so half of 10 is what? 5 squared is
25.
25. So 25 goes here, and then 25 goes
Here.
here. And this is 1 times 25, yes?
Yeah.
Where did the 1 come from?
Front.
The front. And I'm going to keep reminding you of that because that is going to happen. Yes.
Okay, so inside of the parentheses, you don't have to take it times the 1. Like say,
No. Because we factored it out of the quantity.
okay.
Because that's going to be our A, that's going to be our rate of change. We only have to do it when we come out of. Because I'm bringing this 25 out of this quantity right here. So before I could do that, I would have to multiply it by it. Okay, so now I factor. The factors of 25 that have a difference of 10 are what? 5 and 5. What's 10 divided by 2? 5. And they're both going to be what this time? Negative.
Why would they both be?
Because we have a negative.
Right there. Whatever sign that is going to be there.
So the first sign that's like between A and B.
The sign of B will be the sign in the quantity.
That
Because-
Okay, so will they both always be negative if the sign in front of B is negative?
What all will be negative?
Both the factors.
Yes, because when it's plus, the sign of your factors are always the same. When C is positive, both
What
factors
if
are
C
the
is
same.
negative and so is B?
But C won't be negative ever in this because why are we
Oh
doing it?
yeah.
Because we're doing it a certain
So
way,
it's
so
it'll
it's
always
easier
always
for
be
you.
the same.
In here every single time because what we are doing, guys, is we are forcing a perfect square trinomial
To make it easier.
to make it easier to graph.
Yeah.
That's what we are doing. Now, we could do all this stuff. We could find the vertex with this negative b over 2a that I'm going to show you, and then we could put it back in here and with the vertex and then a point, and we could find the a like we've been doing. But isn't this a much just more streamlined process?
Yeah.
It's
for
just
sure.
there. Okay?
It's just yeah, you do it.
So now where's my vertex at?
We don't know yet because you haven't taken
5, 0.
Why
So you get
5,
rid of
0?
25.
Because positive 25, negative 25 is 0.
Oh, I thought you took 25 minus 1 and then took that times 25.
No, 1 times 25. Order of operations.
My bad.
I know those pesky things, they taught us a long time ago. We got to keep track of them. Okay, now what?
Now we gotta factor.
Now
in
we try this
4.
on our own.
You wanna try this one on your own?
Yes.
Okay, go for it. I love the confidence. Hint, make sure to kick out the 6 before you factor. You're not factoring out of the 6. And sometimes you get fractions.
You really had to do that to us.
I did. Well, do you want me to do it on your homework and not here?
That's 5
Is
divided
it-
by negative 4.
4 and 1.
Negative 4/5.
Is it 4 and 1?
What?
Is it 4 and 1?
We're not factoring in what?
Is that what you thought? You have to take the negative.
We're completing. Yeah, you have to take the negative. Okay, so I have to take
Should we
back.
have a factor first?
Yeah.
Okay, we're not factoring the whole thing.
I
We're
know.
only factoring right
yeah.
there.
So 4 and
Okay,
1.
so
equal
negative-
5.
Negative 4.
-4.
Oh, I just take
So we have x squared minus 5 over 4x
how did that-
plus, and then -6
Yeah,
minus.
yeah. But how did you get the why?
What is factoring dividing, right? And 4 does not go into 5 evenly, does it?
No,
So
under
then
No.
why did you take out the 4?
You have to take out the 4 because you have to have 1 as a leading coefficient.
Oh.
You have to. No, Sadie, you're right. Normally we would not factor out a 4 if it didn't go into it. But in order to do this process, you have to have 1 as a
You think
leading
you picked the
coefficient.
hardest one.
Okay,
to do
maybe
by
I'm
yourself.
really
Yeah.
dumb.
I
That's what I
didn't.
was
You guys did.
Maybe I'm really dumb, but how do you do 5 over 4 over 2?
Okay, so we're dividing fractions, so we multiply by the reciprocal. So it would be -5/4 times what?
Do 1
4
over 2.
over 5.
1 over 2. Sorry. Because we're dividing by 2, right?
So it'd
So
be
you multiply
5
by a half.
That'd be
Okay, so we have what?
5 over
negative
5.
8 squared.
-5/8. Now do you see why I say leave that there? Because then I don't. Well, you'll see why in a minute. Okay, now I gotta square it. So I square the top and I square the bottom. I don't do it together.
Wait,
do
where'd
it.
you get negative 5/8?
25 over 64.
5 times 1 is 5. 4 times 2 is 8.
But how did you get negative 5/4 in the beginning? Because I got negative 4/5.
You should have 5
You did
divided by.
5
by-
divided by 4.
I can't answer a question when you guys are. Okay. -5 divided by 4 is negative 5/4. You should not have gotten 4/5. Nope. Okay, so 5 squared is, no, this is 25.
45 over 64.
Okay, so now I've got to take out here 4 times 25 over 64. Now, you see that I'm showing a lot of work, guys? And normally I don't show a lot of work, do I? You have to show this work so you don't lose yourself.
No.
Okay? So now, here, I'm not going to do anything with that. Here, I need to factor. So I have -4, and it's going to be x minus, because of this minus, and it's always going to be perfect square. So this is why I leave this there, because I have it right there.
That's a perfect square.
When I FOIL this out right here, I get this.
How?
And if I leave this here, I don't have to actually think about the factors of 25/64 that add to 5/4. Anyone want to do that?
No.
No, thank
No.
you.
Okay.
So now you do.
Now we have to do this. Okay, so 4 goes into 64 how many times?
Oh.
16.
16.
What?
Well, 4,
8 times
four
8 is
over that again.
64. 8 times 2 is 16.
What was your question?
4 goes into 64 16 times. Because 4 cubed is 64.
You're multiplying 4 and 25 over 64.
Yes. And I can reduce. I would never multiply 25 times 4 and then have 100 over 64 because then I still have to reduce, correct? I just reduce before I multiply.
So 25 over 16, and then what do you
Okay, now I have to get common what?
Denominator.
Denominators. So I'm going to have to multiply 6 times 16. So 6 times 6 is 36. Carry a 3, so 96. So negative 96 minus 25 over 16.
So 16 and
So you need 96 and 25,
so
so
you add it,
Negative
so it's
31 over 6.
one,
That was-
so you add.
121 over 16.
Yeah,
Yeah?
96.
I had to get common denominators.
That was a really crappy one for us to choose.
You chose it. I wasn't.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Why would they even make a problem like that?
Because you should be able to work with fractions.
No.
You have to get common denominators. This is over 1, so my common denominator is 16. I refuse to let you guys ignore fractions. You will have fractions every single test. You will have fractions almost every single assignment. It's not going to be every problem, but you're only going to get better at them as you work with them, correct? Do not avoid them. Just take them step by step and do the process. Okay. So now I have 121 over 16. Can I reduce that? They're not even.
No.
121. No.
11.
No.
And I can ask you where is the vertex?
Negative 5/8. 5/8.
5/8.
And negative
Negative
121.
121 over
Oh, yeah,
16.
Okay.
And the graph gets wider. Wait, what does the graph do?
The graph opens
It's narrower.
down
It gets narrower.
and it gets narrower. Why does it get narrower?
Because
Because
it
it's
is
a negative.
smaller than 1.
Yeah, that's
It's bigger than
negative.
No.
it's bigger than 1.
The absolute value is bigger than 1.
Oh,
What?
well.
Oh.
You completely lose me when you start making
okay.
the upside down thingies. And
Well,
I
this
have
is
no clue where you
okay.
pull that out.
negative 4. The negative tells me this, and the 4 tells me this. That's that A. That's the plus or minus A
Yeah.
right
But-
there.
Well, that was a journey.
Wouldn't 4 mean it's wider?
No.
It's bigger than
The
1.
rule that I continually tell you is the absolute value of A. When it is greater than 0, less than 1, it is wider.
I always forget the absolute value.
And when the absolute value of A is greater than 1, it is what? Narrower.
Absolute value.
Okay. The sign of A only tells you if it opens what? Up or down. It does not tell you the rate of change. And even if it was negative, I can still have a quick negative change, correct? It just goes in the negative direction. So, on your assignment, I think the 13 through 26 is all of this. Okay?
Nice.
Complete the square, write it in vertex form. What is completing the square? Writing it into what? Vertex form. You can use this to solve an equation rather than factoring. You can. It's not a method I like to use,
I like this one better than factory. Factory just combobulates.
really.
I hate factoring.
So we have to.
Okay, we got more. We're not done. I didn't tell you to put stuff away.
Gosh.
Okay, finding the minimum and maximum values of a parabola. So when it opens up, I have a what?
Minimum.
Minimum.
The maximum will always be infinity.
Well, you can't really, it doesn't have a maximum because you can't get to infinity,
Well, that's
but it's approaching.
It only has
Okay. And then when I'm opening down, I have a what?
Maximum.
Max. Okay, these happen at what? What is this? What is that?
Vertex.
The vertex.
You pop-
And the vertex is that HK, yes?
Yes, HK.
And the H is the what?
Line symmetry.
Axis of symmetry. And so if I can find this H, I can find the minimum X value, and I just find Y by plugging in the X, right? Okay? And I can find the H value of the vertex, and then I can find the axis of symmetry. I can find all this stuff. So you need to know how to do that. And it's right here. Right here. It's all this. Look at that. Oh my gosh. And then I want you to look right here.
Well, yeah, I wasn't done on
Okay, right there. It says when A is greater than 0, okay, so that means it's positive. It opens what way?
Up.
Up. I have a what?
Minimum.
Minimum. So I have a minimum at negative B over 2A. Oh my gosh, where have you seen that before?
Over there. That's the last thing we
Quadratic formula. Where else? What did we just do?
the perfect square.
Completing the square. I told you that negative B over 2A is going to happen a lot. When we did that negative B over 2A, did we find the H value?
Yes.
Yes. We did.
So you're looking for the H
we're looking for the H value because the H value, I'm gonna come back. The H value was the minimum, was the axis of symmetry, was all of that. Okay? So to find the vertex, the H or the X value of the vertex, we need to use negative b over 2a. Now, how do I get the y value? I just plug it into the function. That's all that means, right here. Plug it back into the function. It looks really weird to say f of negative b over 2a. Just throw in your answer. So when a is less than 0, that means it goes down, right? Yes? I have a what? Max. And guess how I'm still going to find that x value?
Negative b over 2a.
Negative b over 2a. So how do I find the x value of the vertex?
Negative b over 2a.
Negative b over 2a. Do you need everything on this slide?
No.
You
Nope.
need negative t
I
over
would say x value of the vertex is negative b over 2a. How do I find the y?
Plug in the end.
No, plug in the x. Okay? This is what the book looks like. This is all the stuff the book has in it. And I want to show you that. Because is there a lot of repetitive stuff on this slide? Yes.
Wait.
Read it.
Oh, move up.
No, I can't read it because I don't understand.
Okay, yes.
Okay, what did you mean by the y thing?
Okay, if once I have the x of anything, Tori, how do I find the y?
Switch the x and y.
No, that's inverse. Just throw it back in.
Oh, okay.
So after I have, like, they have all this stuff, of, like, this right here talks about finding the y. If I have an x value and I have a function, don't I just plug the x in to get the y? Yes,
X and y are-
into the function. Because negative b over 2a gives me the x of the vertex. Yes? If I want the y, how do I find it? Plug this into the function.
So
That's why I'm saying you don't need all of this. I want you to learn to decipher what the book is telling you. That's why I show you this stuff. Because if I decipher it all for you without explaining it, you're never going to learn how to learn from a textbook, which you're going to have to do in every subject you ever take from now till the end of time.
No.
Yes.
I refuse.
You refuse. You're just going to drop out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go.
So we know if it opens down, it has a maximum, yes? Did I need this to tell me that? No. I know if it opens up, it has a what? Minimum. Do I need all this to tell me that? No. So if I don't need it to tell me it because I know it, do I need to write it down?
No.
No. So how do I find the x value of the vertex, which is also the h of the vertex form? What do I do?
Factor.
No.
Negative 2.
Negative b over 2a. That's factors, I find the zeros. I don't know how else to say that. No. Okay, so how do I find the vertex, the x of the vertex?
You plug x in.
Just the x. Negative b over 2a. Where did I see negative b over 2a before?
When we completed the square.
When we completed the square. Where did we see it before that? Quadratic formula. Do you know where it comes from? It comes from the quadratic formula.
Gasp.
Do you guys know that the Pythagorean theorem is an equation of a circle and a distance of a line?
No.
All three things?
No.
Do you all know the Pythagorean theorem?
No.
AX.
We learned it if
A squared plus b squared
equals c squared.
Oh.
I
Okay.
didn't know that.
And I can tell you when somebody goes, what's the distance formula? I go, I say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I can remember that, and I know how to find the distance between two numbers. What do you do? If I have this one's 6 and this one's 10, how do I find the difference between the two?
You
Midpoint
square that
formula.
one and subtract it from.
What?
Wouldn't I just take 10 minus 6 is 4?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
that's
too.
what I would do. Okay,
Yeah.
you can make it hard if you want.
Yeah,
not me.
I'm gonna make it hard.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, now I want to talk to you guys about this. Don't get mixed up in the words. What do you see here? What do you see
F of
right here?
x equals negative.
That's a formula.
That is what kind of a formula?
Quadratic.
Quadratic. What shape is it?
Parabola.
Up and up or down?
I don't know what to say that.
Down, because it's a negative a.
Okay,
You take that out.
I know it's a parabola. I know it's a parabola because the highest degree is 2. I know it opens down because it's a negative.
Yeah.
We need to have a discussion. Most things in life are a negative parabola because we have a thing called gravity. I throw a ball, any kind of ball. I hit a ball. I kick a ball. it is going to be a negative parabola function. We have this thing called gravity, and so it's going to be a negative parabola. We go on space, it's not going to be negative anymore, it's going to be what?
Positive.
Positive.
Actually, the way they were in space.
Okay, so I'm not going to get all caught up in this. I'm going to see a parabola, and then I'm going to read the question, then I might go read some information. Do not get caught up in it. Okay, what is the maximum height of the baseball? Well, the max happens at the what of the
Top.
the vertex. Well, yes, but the top.
Right here. Where my
But it
fingers
happens
are.
at the what of the parabola? The vertex? How do I find the vertex of a parabola? Negative b over 2a.
Good job, Sadie. Thank you.
So that's
Still don't know.
negative.
This is
negative.
also known as h, correct, in vertex form? Yes? So I go negative b over 2a. Is it written in order?
Yeah.
Yes? So what is b?
1.
1. Thank you very much.
Okay, wait, time out. How comes we don't
Okay.
how come we don't like take out the 3?
Because all I want is the maximum height. I don't want to know where the actual, I don't want to graph it.
Oh.
I don't want to complete the square on that. Have fun. Not me. Okay? I'm only going to answer the question that's in front of me.
Okay.
Do not get caught up in everything we've done all week because it wants negative b over 2a. Okay, so b is 1. So negative 1 over 2
How did you know that B is 1?
Because
is the
X,
coefficient of x. Okay,
Oh.
what is a?
Negative .0032.
Okay, so it wants to know the maximum height, and we do need to figure out what x is. And it says, so x is probably the time. The height is f of x, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to find the y once I find the x, correct? But I just have to find the x first. So this is probably a problem that I might want to do with the calculator at some point. Okay, a negative and a negative is a what? Positive, so that's good. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, so I have to add what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes?
Wait.
I had 4 decimal places. I have to move the decimal over, yes?
Yeah.
Okay? I have to take 2 times 32. I believe in every single one of you. Is 64. Okay?
Why did you move the 0 to the top?
Because you have decimal, if you multiply the bottom by
Oh, I
10,000, you
yeah,
have to
I got it.
multiply the top.
Oh.
Okay, so now I probably could reduce this. Hopefully all of you could reduce
Yeah.
this.
I got it.
Okay.
Don't worry.
No, you don't got it yet. Okay,
I got it.
4 goes into 64, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, 4 goes in there 60 times. 16, not 60. 4 goes into 100, how many times?
4.
25.
25.
That's what I said.
With 2 zeros. Can I reduce that again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Couldn't you just divide by 2?
Yeah, but
That takes 2
4
more.
was bigger than 2. 4
not
goes in here and
five.
4 goes into here, yes? So about 4. 4 goes into 25, how many times?
What? Six.
Six.
6 and some left.
No decimals. 4 goes into 10, how many times?
2.
2.
No.
With 2 left over, 4 goes into 20, how many times? 5. Okay,
What the heck? I have 125 over 8.
okay. 625 over 4, 625 is not even.
Oh,
Right? Okay, now I actually can do 625 divided by 4 without a calculator, and so can you.
Let me do
Yeah.
it.
Okay, 4 goes into 6, how many times?
One time.
One.
Once.
2 left.
With 2 left over.
Make that
4 goes into
5.
22,
5.
5.
2 left.
4 goes into 25,
6.
6. With how many left over? With 1. Okay, 4 goes, and I gotta add a decimal, right? 4 goes into 10, how many times? 2.
2.
With 2 left over. And 4 goes into 20, how many times?
5.
5. Okay,
And that's our maximum.
so at 156 feet, .25 out from home plate, we need to find how high it is. Yes? And I am not putting this in there without a calculator. Okay? This tells me I'm 156.25 feet away from home plate. How am I gonna find the height?
You put that in for.
This in there, and you're going to use a what?
Calculator.
Calculator. Now it is appropriate to use a calculator.
Okay, I was gonna say there ain't no way they're not.
No, and I've said that. Now it is appropriate to use a calculator. Practice your skills not using a calculator and check it, guys. You have everything you need. You have 3 application problems. Guess what you have to find on all 3? The max or the min.
I'll probably be in during IB.
Are we turning our assignment in from yesterday tomorrow?
Yes, we'll turn both in tomorrow. Thank you for asking.
What they actually do is